Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna. So, one second. Probably it's 7.14.
1 second, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'll say the shloka. Devi he esha gunamayi mam maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Okay. Translation. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So here Lord Krishna is telling about the material energy Maya. He's telling it to Arjuna. So this is divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature, and it is difficult to overcome. So, and he's also telling the solution how to overcome it, how to be not under the grip of this Maya. That is, they have to surrender unto Lord Krishna. And if they do that, they can easily cross beyond it. Let's get into the detail. Srila Prabhupada gives wonderful explanation here. Okay. So Prabhupada explains that as per Vedic civilization, unless one is inquisitive for the solution of the problems, he is not on the human being standard. So one might look like a human being, even might look sophisticated, but if one is not inquisitive in finding the problems to the finding the solutions to the problem, then he is not on the human being standard. So we in our life we face so many problems. So the animals cannot inquire, but a human being can inquire. So this is the advancement of this is how the human species is advanced compared to other species. So unless one comes to the point of inquiring that how these problems can be solved, he is not developed in his or her human consciousness. He is still in low consciousness or animal consciousness. This human civilization is advanced civilization. Prabhupada says that when humans encounter a problem, they have the ability to solve the problems and they try to solve their problems, right? And we see that we call this advancement. Maybe it's even scientific advancement or the way we live our life. So advancement of civilization means by nature some problem is offered and they try to solve it. So you take anything you come across in life, it is an attempt for trying to solve the problem. So many industries have come up, so many professions, businesses which were not even existing 2 decades back, like that. Things which we couldn't even think of at the time, but today because of advancement, one step after another, we have so many things for advancement. So example is if there is some disease, then they try to find a solution, a medicine or a vaccine to fix it. If there is a traffic, another example is if there is traffic, then they try to build more roads or build subway or build underground roads or passage, etc. So traffic is a big problem, and we see that we have been trying to solve it, and we are still finding more sophisticated solutions. We have metros and so many other things, but we solve one problem and another problem comes up. It just springs up. There's no end to the problems. But you will notice or realize that you solve one problem and will be another problem. So what is the ultimate problem? Prabhupada says that. So ultimate problem is, Prabhupada explains, the ultimate problem is we don't want to suffer. We want to have a very comfortable, peaceful life. And Prabhupada explains that in Sanskrit language it is called Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. To solve the problems of miseries, we don't want any kind of misery. We don't want to suffer. But we have what we want is a very peaceful and joyful life. But that is not possible. But it is not possible to not have any problem within this material world. So the living entity is by nature joyful and hence wants a joyful life. Anandamaya abhyasa. But this material world is dukhalyam shashvat. So you will only find problems one after another. You solve one problem, another problem comes up. There's no end to it. So abhyasat means by natural tendency, he wants a joyful life, human beings. So everyone is trying to be very happy, comfortable, but it is being finished within a second. Everyone is trying to solve this problem in his or her own way. They are manufacturing different ways, but the problem is not solved. So either you have got a problem of poverty, problem of scarcity of food grain, or a problem of hippies, problems of pain. But the fact is that one or the other problem is there. Problems are persisting. Therefore, one should be very careful to know how to solve the problems. How to solve the problems. That is the ultimate problem. We are trying to advance in education, in scientific knowledge. But the material nature is offering one problem after another. That is the nature's business. You solve one problem and material nature will present another problem. So Prabhupada gives an example. First of all, somebody thought that if there is an airplane, then it will be very nice to travel in the space. But now the problem is that by airplane, if there is enmity between two countries, two nations, another country can face, the wrath of another country without any fight. So that is how it is. So they, beyond that, they have nations, the countries have built tanks, jets, submarines, and ships, and they are also building underground bunkers. So they're trying to solve the problem of threat from other countries by coming up with advancement of artillery, ammunition, weaponry, etc., all these things. So they are trying to solve it and advance, but the other country, seeing this as a threat, is trying to solve it by coming up with a response to it. But the problem continues to exist. Threat of existential crisis one country faces by advancement of its opponent country continues to exist. And that is how we have had world wars, and we have still not learned lesson, and this poses a serious threat to the existence of countries, nations, humans at large, because one action from one nation can be detrimental for the existence of others. So this is how it is. It's not a perfect solution, but intelligent persons should think of how this ultimate problem can be solved. What will be the answer to it? How this ultimate problem can be solved? They have tried their best, but it remains unsolved. So Prabhupada says that the solution to this ultimate problem is there in Bhagavad-gītā in the 7th chapter. The solution is we have to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. The material problems are there and are under the management of this material nature. So once a soul comes to the material world of this material nature, it is not possible to overcome the stringent laws of material nature. You cannot bypass it. Three modes of material. Everything is under the influence of three modes of material nature. So one comes under the grip, clutches of Maya. So mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. So if you want to get out of these clutches of material nature, which continues to put us in one problem after another, then you have to become a surrendered soul or Krishna conscious. And there is no alternative to this. Otherwise, material nature is very strong. You think now this problem is solved, but actually that is not solved. You create another problem. So we have seen that we have had steam engines, we have had advancement and the diesel engines and electric engines and all that. But at a later stage, we find that we found it to be very innovative, but at a later stage, it was a big problem. It poses a big problem. For example, coming up with sustaining on technology dependent on fuel such as renewable sources like gasoline, petrol, diesel, coal. It led to very high depletion of these natural resources and pollution and problem related to pollution. Even same with plastic. Initially, we came up with so many things, utensils, things made of plastic, but now we say that these are very carcinogenic and these pose a very serious threat, um, health problems, etc. So many things, even water bottles bottled in plastic, even fishes, water resources getting depleted with microplastics, and then when people eat these organisms or food from water polluted with plastics, these cause a very serious health issue. People, when you use these water for agricultural land, or people who eat fish, they consume this, and they consume this water, or then they consume microplastics also. So this is a big problem. So we think that we have solved one problem, it leads to another problem because we are not perfect. So Maya will continue to give us so many problems, and no scientific advancement or knowledge, material science can overcome it. Of course, this is also another science, Krishna consciousness, Krishna science. The Prabhupada says that the ultimate problem is, of course, death. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to live and enjoy. So death is a problem. Nobody wants to die, but death comes and captures him. So, so Prabhupada says that one who is actually learned, advanced in knowledge, he should know that these four things, the miseries of taking birth, the misery of taking birth means that after this birth is, if after this body is finished, we have to take another body. This new body is constructed, developed within the womb of another mother. So you have to live within the mother's womb, compact, airtight, packed for like 9 months or 10 months. Just imagine if you are packed in a bag and put in an airtight compartment, locked up. How would you feel? But the arrangement is so nice by nature's law, the intestine that the mother child breathes with the mother's breathing, mother's fooding, even unconscious, his development of the body goes on. That is nature's arrangement, but you cannot do that. Whatever advancement we make. So it is by God's grace the child lives in that condition. Otherwise, by your so-called scientific calculation, nobody can live in that condition. So there is suffering during birth also. Similarly, there is suffering during death, and the concomitant sufferings always come with this body. Similarly, there is suffering of if you are diseased. Similarly, there is suffering when you are old. As soon as you are over 50 years by nature, so the old age begins, and above 70, you are completely old, and you have to suffer the consequences of old age. So, so if people think that they're proud of their advancement of knowledge and that you have solved all the questions, all the problems, the Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna says, don't think like that. That is your foolishness. Under the grip of Maya, three modes of material nature, it will continue to throw one problem after another. These problems are there. So, so one should realize that, yes, problems are not solved. The problems are there. That is learning. Example, so this is how it is. So there is no other solution but to, it's mentioned in 17th chapter, this verse, 14th verse. It is very difficult to surmount the problems offered by the laws of material nature, but one who surrenders unto me, to Lord Krishna, he overcomes. So this is what this Krishna consciousness movement is teaching, that this Krishna consciousness to solve the problems of life, it is not sentiment or fanaticism or any sectarian religion. It is fact that if you want to solve the problems of life, you have to become Krishna conscious. There is no alternative. So, okay, so Prabhupada says that So understanding this, either we can intelligently come to realize, do we want to die like cats and dogs, or do we want to be advanced by taking human birth, this opportunity with higher consciousness, higher intelligence, to find the solution to this problem of these four miseries: birth, death, old age, and disease, while we are still alive, practicing Krishna consciousness, surrendering to Lord Krishna. The Shastra says that labdhva su durlabham edam bahu sambhavante. After many, many evolution of different kinds of body, this evolutionary process is there. That is mentioned in Vedic literature, from lower grade of animal life to the higher grade of animal life. So this human form of life is to be understood. We have got this human form of life after many, many lower grades of life. After taking birth in lower species, we have finally come to take birth in higher species, which is human life. Labdhva sudurlabham, and it's very rare. There are 84 lakh species of life, or 8.4 million. Out of that, human species are 4 lakh. Compared with other animals, a very small number. Out of that, there are uncivilized men. There are many. They are living almost like animals. And then in this human form of life, there are civilized form of human beings, just like we are. We are realizing this, trying to find the solution to this four miseries, um, ultimate problems, trying to solve it. Out of them, many of them do not even know what is spiritual life. Manushyanam, that is also stated in Bhagavad-gītā. Manushyanam sahasreshu. It is mentioned in 7.3 Sloka of Bhagavad-gītā. Out of many thousands of human beings, one is entrusted to make a solution of the problems. Not everyone. Everyone, they do not even know that what is the problem. They don't even care for it. They think, all right, let there be problem. We have got this life. Let us enjoy senses. So they are almost like animals. Only those who are inquisitive how to solve the problem, they are actually accepted as human beings. Others, they are not even human beings. They are almost like animals. So you have got this opportunity. This body should be utilized how to solve this problem. If we simply give ourselves in the waves of the cycle of birth and death of different types of body, that is not very good intelligence. So this human form of life should be utilized how to make a solution of the problem. That is Vedic civilization. So in Vedic civilization, they stress more on the solution of the problems, not to create problems and try to solve those problems. So whatever problems are existing, we try to find a solution to it. We don't create more problems and then try to solve it. The materialistic way of life means to increase and create problems. That is not perfect human civilization. The perfect human civilization is that you have to sit very calmly, quietly, and philosophically think how to solve the problem. Where I shall get the knowledge. This is human form. The whole Vedic instruction is like that. Now you utilize this form of life to make a solution. And we should not live and die like cats and dogs. And one who tries, the Veda says that etad viditva yaha prayati sad brahmana. One who dies after attempting to make a solution to the problems, he is brahmana. And one who dies like cats and dogs, he is called kripana. Kripana means a very less intelligent man. So we should not die like cats and dogs. We should live life like a brahmana. And even if when we die, even if we have not found the solution, permanent solution, or to the ultimate problem, even if even if in this life we don't get the final solution, then we get an opportunity to advance in the next life, again human life, a very maybe better birth, and then we can find come to perfect realization of Krishna consciousness and find the solution to this ultimate problem, that is life of misery. Find a perfect solution to it and never take birth in this cycle of birth, and never come into the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease, and never take birth in this womb, and never take this birth in this material world, and we go back home, back to Godhead. That is the perfect situation. So if anybody who has come to Krishna consciousness in this life, is to be understood that they tried in their last life, previous life, for making a solution of this problem, this ultimate problem, but it was not finished. Then they got this another opportunity. So these things are mentioned and explained in Bhagavad Gita. So now in this life, we should be determined And those who are coming on practicing Krishna consciousness and initiated to execute the instructions mentioned in the scriptures by the Guru, the vows we take to the Guru as part of the initiation, they should be very determined that in this life we shall make a solution, no more coming again. That should be our determination, and go back to home, back to Godhead, where we get eternal blissful life of knowledge. This is the sum and substance of Krishna consciousness movement. So this is how it is. So one has to surrender to Lord Krishna to practice Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is very difficult to overcome this divine energy of Lord, which is Maya, consisting of the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, which is otherwise very difficult to overcome. The only solution is to surrender to the Lord, and then we can go beyond it. So, so here, interestingly, we'll see in the purport, Prabhupada says that devotional service of Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of this stringent material nature. So, and Prabhupada calls this, here it is mentioned, inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, this material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. So although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. This is mentioned in Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.0. So Maya, it tightens us in its grip, and conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. And once one is bound in this illusion, he cannot free himself on his own. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. So we have to have a guru, a spiritual master, a mentor, who will rescue us, liberate us from this bind of the grip of the material illusion or Maya. So this is very essential, and one has to surrender. And this is the instruction of the shloka, and further detail will be revealed tomorrow in another shloka. So surrender is the ultimate and the only solution. There is no other way. So thank you, Prabhuji Mataji. Thanks for joining. Please continue to join again tomorrow. If anybody has any question now, please ask before we log off. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Mataji.
Hare Krishna.